brand new prequel film from Paramount that just hit theaters. This is the third film, but this time this is a prequel taking place in day one of the apocalyptic event that set up the first two films. In this prequel, John Krasinski is not back to star or direct in this movie, but Krasinski still has a story credit and a producing credit on this film. Michael Sarnoski takes over the directing chair after directing the 2021 film Pig. This movie stars Lupita Nyong'o as Samira Son, who is battling cancer, and on a trip with her person who leads this nursing home, Ruben, played by Alex Wolff. They're on the way to do something in the middle of New York City. The apocalyptic event happens and everyone needs to stay quiet, or a little sound, these monsters will come and get you with a snap of its fingers. As Samira is on this journey by herself on a personal journey, she runs into Eric, played by Joseph Quinn, who's also trying to figure out someone to latch onto to make it through this event. Also in the movie is Djimon Hounsou, who returns as Henry from A Quiet Place Part 2. The film is an hour and 40 minutes and is PG-13. Welcome back to a brand new review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinenberg. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and ring that bell. We just hit 220 subscribers. I'm very proud to say that. Let's get to 230 now as quickly as possible. We are growing every day. So join the channel, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell for notifications. I talk all things movies, TV shows. I do rankings. I do every Tuesday a box office show, and I do out of theater reactions. So please subscribe to the bell. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on the A Quiet Place franchise? Where does this rank for you in the A Quiet Place films? And let me know in the comment section down below. Might be doing, actually probably will be doing a ranking of the Quiet Place films sometime this week. Hopefully I have a day in the week that I can fit that in with a lot of videos coming out this week. Also, please like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. Also, I do a weekly live stream here on the channel. And if you want to help support the channel, go to the Streamlabs, you can tip me. And any question that you put in there will be answered on an upcoming live stream or the next live stream. If you've been following the YouTube channel, I did film an out of theater reaction for this movie. I did see the movie on Saturday, but I was not in my home office or anything like that, so I didn't have time to sit down, film a review for it. So here I am 2 days later giving you guys my full review. So let's get my thoughts on A Quiet Place Day One. And right off the bat, I do want to say I adore this franchise. The first two films are some of my favorite horror movies of my life. Both those movies give me a original, fresh movie theater experience like I've never seen. And walking into that first A Quiet Place film, not knowing what to expect, that movie just puts you in such an uncomfortable, edge of your seat thrill space. Obviously, then these two films have followed up. So going back to actual day one, we've seen day one from our main family's point of view in the first two A Quiet films in A Quiet Place Part 2. But not for an extended time. So I was excited to check out this prequel. Let's get into it. And overall, I think this is a very worthy prequel and a really good addition to the A Quiet Place franchise. I think there's multiple things working, but I think the thing that this film continues from the first two films, and this movie is still very much focused on the characters. Yes, there are big monsters out there, and I think there could have been a little bit more world building, which I'll get into in a little bit. But when they're actually in the event and it becomes kind of a co-lead, or really mostly it is Lupita's movie for the most part, but when it's Samira and Eric together, the movie's heavily focused on character because you have two kind of loners out there who find each other with a chance. And obviously one person's really struggling health-wise, one struggling just for anything, just in life. Rock bottom is what this event is. I think this back half of the movie is really just beautiful character work. And I knew this would be the case, but Lupita Nyong'o is phenomenal in this movie. And I think people just have to realize that she's one of the best actors, actresses, any gender, just working today. She's been phenomenal for over 10 years. She really hasn't gotten the mainstream notoriety that she has. Obviously, post 12 Years a Slave, she took was in big movies, but supporting roles like in The Force Awakens, Star Wars, the new trilogy, and Jungle Book. And then you move into Black Panther, those films. Well, yeah, she's excellent in them. She's very much a side character in those films. And even Us, which is my favorite performance of hers, is still more seen as a Jordan Peele film than an actual, like a Lupita Nyong'o showcase, which it is. And then you come to this movie, and she is fantastic in this movie. This is her movie. And yes, Joseph Quinn is a vital piece, but he doesn't really come into the fray until much later in the film, which allows Lupita to dominate the screen time. We are with her for basically the entire film. And she's a fascinating character because this is obviously not a mother. This is not someone who is focused on her kids or pregnant or anything like that, or husband or anything like that. She's just someone who is already in the midst of her last days of her life, and she's trying to navigate now having cancer in a time where there doesn't seem to be any hope in the world. And that performance is excellent because Lupita has always been, Nyong'o's been also a really good person acting wise without a lot of dialogue. Even if you go back to Us, yes, there's plenty of dialogue, but a lot of that performance, especially her villain performance in Us, comes down to body language, eye movement, all that type of stuff. And she brings that to this movie as well. She's phenomenal and very well cast in this type of movie. Joseph Quinn is also excellent. Obviously, he's getting a lot of roles for a reason after playing Eddie in Stranger Things. But Quinn plays a beautiful, likable character in this movie who is just looking for a friend, really, at this point. And he finds that he's going to do anything in his power to make Samir feel comfortable in this situation. And it is a beautiful friendship that I do believe was what this movie is done for. Nyong'o and Quinn don't have tons of dialogue back and forth with each other, but you buy their chemistry, you buy their relationship and their dynamic, and the character work and the performances. These are very physical performances because there's really minimal dialogue. It's all up to their eye movement, faces, body movement, things like that. And a lot of people throw away these performances in these A Quiet Place films. There's the reason why Emily Blunt was nominated. I think she even won a SAG award for the first film. You got to get great actors who can do these type of things. And I think Nyong'o and Quinn were excellent. As I said, the character work was very good. The movie also is very artistically flared from a direction perspective. It's not as well directed as John Krasinski's first two films, but it's a gorgeous film. I think another good thing about this movie is that we kind of just focused on one family, kind of in one kind of location in the first two movies. Or just smaller locations, not these big cities, but we moved to New York City for this event. And you feel like this apocalyptic event hits harder because you're in the middle of the loudest, most populated, one of the most populated cities in the world. When this event goes down. Now, on a negative side, I do think the movie was not edge of your seat thrilling like the first two movies. There's definitely the quiet moments are there, but I was never scared or on the edge of your seat. Like you felt like you were on a stand, sitting on pins and needles, watching every little moment in the first two A Quiet Place movies. And I never felt that same itch and thrills that I had in the previous two movies. But on a story level, I do think because this is a prequel talking about day one, we still don't gotta get like any answers about the reasoning for the apocalyptic event, the specifics on the aliens. I know that we wanted to stick very closely to the first two films. Well, yes, they're aliens and you see them in the movie. They're still very much in the background. It's more about the human characters, which I like in the first two movies, but I was coming into a prequel expecting to get a little bit more answers about the actual event. And once the event goes down, it just turns into kind of another A Quiet Place movie, which is still pretty damn good. But I think this movie could have been special if it took the time to world build a little bit more because it's a prequel movie. It should have answered a lot more questions that the first two movies didn't ask. And I feel like it just kept the formula, which is perfectly okay. But I think the return of Djimon Hounsou kind of felt unnecessary because he was kind of a focal character in the second film, but here he just kind of feels like, hey, I was also in one of the other films and that's why he's in here. Didn't feel like that character on the page, or I don't know if it was edited, but just felt like he needed to be a presence more because he is an impactful character, especially in the second film. So overall, I wish there was more world building and more edge of your seat thrills, but still had a very good time with A Quiet Place Part 2. A Quiet Place Day 1. It's a worthy entry into this really solid horror franchise. So I'm going to give A Quiet Place Day 1 a 4 to 5 stars, a 77%. What are your thoughts on the new film Into the franchise? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you guys soon.